Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. Welcome to the last day of 2021, the last day of Vlogmas, the last day of us daily vlogging 31 videos in a row.
Yeah.
And we thought there's only one appropriate way to end a year, and that's by looking back on the year that we just finished. Yeah. So this is gonna be the LeggLife 2021 year in review.
When we rang in the new year, 2021, there is no way that we could have known what this year would have brought us, how high the highs would be, how low the lows would be.
Yeah, it was it was probably the craziest year of our life, without a doubt. Yeah. And even in the middle of that, there were some things that happened that were just beautiful and amazing and awesome. And so as we've spent some time kind of looking back on the last year, we've been encouraged by some of the milestones, some of the things that happened.
Yeah.
And we just thought that you guys, the LeggLife community, would love to hear some of that stuff. So we're going to talk about a wide variety of stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about trips we went on, travels, memories with friends. We're going to touch on Sherri's health stuff. There's no way to talk about the past year without that. We're going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about Instagram, just like all of the things that made up kind of this community, the LeggLife community, over the last year.
I think there's not really a good way to start this video and start talking about our year without talking about how the year started.
Yeah, you guys know we're not going to recap everything because so many of you guys went through this journey with us. But it was this time last year and then starting into 2021 where Sherri's health journey just began and got crazy.
Took a nosedive.
Took a nosedive. I will link down below the playlist that kind of tells that whole story. Several months long, totally out of the blue, total curveball. It was without a doubt the hardest few month period of our marriage and of your life.
I think it was one of the worst things I've ever been through, but it's also had one of the best, or probably the best result of my life as well. Which
is like, what a thing to be able to say. Right. You know what I mean? What a thing to be able to say.
Super low, but also really great high.
And we shared a lot of that journey with you guys. A couple things I want to say about that. YouTube is weird because when you make the decision to share something like that, you start sharing never knowing what the outcome is going to be.
Right.
Right? Like we made the decision to share that whole process, not knowing if we would ever have an answer, not knowing how it would end up.
Right. Well, and kind of, we were sharing it because we have been sharing our life anyway, and it was just, in the middle of it, we didn't know what it was, we didn't know how bad it was was just something we were going through.
Yeah.
And so just sort of sharing that journey, I think, was just sort of part of what we do.
It's what we do, right? We share the highs and the lows and everything, and this was just it was a hard time. We wanted to bring you guys along, but I mentioned this in a recent video. I know for me, YouTube was such a needed outlet because there was nothing I could do to help.
Right.
You know, it sounds weird, but like there was nothing I could do to help Sherri. Like, we had to get a diagnosis, and we had to figure out what was going on, and like I couldn't do those things.
Right.
And so I needed something to take my attention off of just like annoying her. Because like the best thing I could do, we've talked a lot about this, the best thing I could do was like make sure she had everything she needed to be comfortable and then like disappear because I didn't want to hover because I knew that put like added pressure on her. And so I had to make myself go away.
Yeah. And you did.
And I did.
YouTube and through Instagram.
Yeah, YouTube and Instagram. And so like through that whole season for me, you guys were amazing. But also it wasn't just for me, like through the whole season, you guys were so amazing to Sherri.
Right, sending messages and cards and gifts and
like flowers and just, I mean,
lotions upon lotions upon lotions.
It is true. You guys, I mean,
we're still working through
all of
the last bit that we got.
Which is crazy. Like you guys just cared so well for us. I mean, through some things that like our friend Jessica Violet did, like encouraging people to Venmo us. I mean, like our internet community paid off like thousands of dollars in medical bills,
right? Which
is crazy. Like you guys showed up and did that, and so you guys just we felt really cared for in that season. We shared as much as we could. Here's the one thing I do want to say. And keep this in mind with anybody you watch online. When you watch somebody, you never have the full picture.
Right.
We shared a lot with you, but we didn't share everything. And while that was a really encouraging season, the way we were treated by so many of you guys, I don't know that there were many seasons being on YouTube that we took more really hard shots. Like some of the stuff that was said about us and to us during that season was unbelievably harsh.
Yeah.
Because people would watch a video or watch the way we handled something or watch something we did, not having the full picture, and just like blast us.
Yeah.
And so it was such this weird juxtaposition where like we're going through something, we're sharing our life. So many of you guys were responding in kindness, yet there were other people just absolutely trashing us.
Yeah.
And that was hard. But we got through it. Sherri got a diagnosis, and she's doing, like you're doing...
better than I ever have.
In fact, we had a doctor's appointment this week. Mm-hmm. And it's great.
It's great. Yeah. It's...
That's crazy.
My skin has never looked this good, ever. In 40 years.
That's insane. That at the end of such a hard year, such a hard season, you can say that.
Right.
So that's, I think, all we want to say about the health journey. Again, just thank you. Like, to those of you who helped us feel seen and loved and just cared for when there were so many questions and uncertainties. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then life kind of started, so we're kind of going to walk you through the year a little bit.
Yep, a little bit.
Life kind of started to return to normal-ish after you started to heal.
Ish. Yep, late May,
and then early June, our nephews came.
Yes, they did.
And it was so fun. This was the first time that we've ever had, like, time with just us and them.
Just them. So we have obviously hung out with them in here and in Indiana, and we met up with my sister and brother-in-law and them in Florida and went to Disney World and Universal a few years ago. But this was the first time ever that we have actually hung out with just the boys, without my sister and brother-in-law. And so it was so much fun.
It was so cool to...
It was a fun trip.
To get to be aunt and uncle, like, in such, like, an immersive way, especially because we live a long ways away from them. Right? So we don't get to see family as often as we would like. And so to get to have, like, that intense, focused time was just so cool.
It was so much fun.
And it was fun because, like, they made us laugh so often at just, like, quirky things they'd say and funny things they'd say. And they're just, like, they're such good, like, I was going to say kids, but they're not even kids anymore.
They were 10 and 15 at the time. Now they're 11 and 15.
Like, they're growing up. They're like boys. They're becoming young men.
Young men.
They're becoming young men. The cub grows up to be a bear.
All right.
Anyway, we had so much fun with them. That was a highlight of the year for sure.
Yeah.
And then, like, almost right after they left, Auburn came back.
Yep.
Summer number 2.
Like 3 days later, I think.
It was so fun. And it was really cool because that brought and this is going to sound weird because we've only known her for 2 years, but her coming back after the, like, several month season we just had with health stuff and uncertain stuff, like, that just felt so normal.
Right. It brought, like, normalcy to our life. And I think because she was here for so much of 2020 that it, where I didn't have any of the health issues, that having her here, even as I was still kind of healing, it brought back a sense of normalcy.
Yeah, 100%. And
so it was fantastic.
It was fantastic. So, summer 3? I'm just kidding, you guys. We're not going to start internet rumors. No plans.
Like to.
We're just announcing things right now on the internet that we have no control over.
Yeah,
but then, like, when she was here with us for most of the summer, and we got to do so many cool things. We're going to talk about our trips and our travels a little bit later in the video. But we had another summer of, like, experiencing our state.
Yes, and in a different way because we could fly.
It was so awesome.
We couldn't fly last summer, and so we got to go places that we would only fly to. Yeah,
this summer there were, like, dreams that came true.
Yes,
and I think that's so cool.
New places to go.
So fun. And then our friends Justin and Lacey.
Yes.
Came to Alaska.
Yes.
We had a house full, and it just, like, a house full made my heart full.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun. And I love that not only did they get to come here and spend time in our home with all of us, but we got to go to Idaho later in the year and spend time with them.
Yes.
So that was...
we got to hang out with them in our house, and then we got to hang out with them in their house, and it was so much fun.
And then we got to hang out with them in the viewer cruise. Yeah. And so here's what I love is that this is only the second, or this was the first time you've ever met them. You've never met them in person before this year.
Right.
And it was like Zachman immersion camp.
And I love it.
It was the best.
I loved every second.
And like they've become family to us. And that was one of the things is I think of 2021, I think of just like friendships that became family.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of like, I think of them as that. I think of, you know, we started the year as like, oh, we're friends with the Zachmans, but now it's like, man, we're family with the Zachmans.
We're family with the Zachmans. And when we were in Idaho, we got to meet Chris and Chantel, we got to meet Christine. It was people that have been part of our life via the camera became part of our life, and so I love that. And
then we had like the biggest part of that, people who are part of our life via the camera, with the viewer cruise in October.
Right.
Be delayed and delayed and delayed, and positive it wasn't going to happen, and there's no way it's going to sail, and this is not ever going to be a reality, and then it happens.
And then it happened.
And it was the greatest thing. You guys,
it was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I'm so excited for the next viewer cruise.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see you guys all again. I just like miss you. We had so much freaking fun together.
Yeah.
So we had the viewer cruise, came home, have the holidays, went to Florida, got to see my brother, got to see my mom, got to see Cecilia, and it was just like, it was so cool.
Yes.
We got to spend time with Sarah and with Auburn, with Emma in their home, and it just, I don't know, the year, when I think about the last 3 months of the year, compared to the way the first 3 months went, it's hard to believe that was the same year.
I agree. And it's weird to think that really it was most of the first half of the year that I was just like incapacitated. Yeah. And so I feel like I fit a lot of year into 6 months.
Yep.
Which is great.
We did fit a lot of year into 6 months.
Fit a lot of year into 6 months.
So let's talk a little bit about some of that year. I want to talk about like specific things now, okay? And I want to start with kind of the, I don't know how to describe it, like social impact this channel had, because this year we got to do something as a community that, in my opinion, it was more impactful than anything we've ever done in our 6.5 years on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's Shop 49th.
Yeah.
We launched that kind of in the middle of Sherri's sickness.
And by we mean him.
I needed a distraction.
It was honestly, it was another thing for him to be able to like dive headlong into.
It's true.
Because he needed something to do that wasn't just sitting next to me saying, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
Do you want me to get you lotion? Do you want me to get you water? What can I get you? What can I get you?
So he dove headlong into this thing, and it was amazing.
And I don't know, we've talked a lot about it, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the impact that we still continue to see this have is crazy.
Right.
Even though Shop 49th is no longer still a thing, we don't know what it looks like in the future. I have some ideas on things we could do. But Shop 49th was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like we got to help dozens of businesses and lots of organizations, and like media took notice, and like news stories ran articles about this, and people from around the world were sending us letters about like, what are you doing? How is this going? Like, what in the heck is happening? It
took off in a way that I don't think you even dreamed of.
There's not even close. It's not even in the same. It's not the same ballpark. It's not even the same sport. Like I had no idea that would happen. And again, we've said this before. Shop 49th was a success not because we did it. It's because you guys showed up.
Right. Like he had the idea, but you guys are the ones that showed up.
Completely. So. And so Shop 49th was such a huge deal. And then other things, just like we talked about this in a recent video, the CIDP stickers we did, right? For Land and Violet, getting to donate money there, which was amazing. And then just like lots of other little, I don't know what to call them, just like when we went to Utqiagvik, went to Barrow, we put out there that we wanted to like bring supplies to the domestic violence shelter up there. And you guys gave so much money that we were able to bring just like bags of stuff.
Like 2 extra suitcases
full of stuff.
Just
full of stuff.
Right.
And it was so cool. I don't know that I shared this, but when the ladies from the shelter came to pick up the items, one of the things you don't often get to see when you make donations is like the immediate impact. And it was cool because they were looking through the items, and one of the things that we were able to bring was like a snowsuit, like a baby snowsuit. And the lady like picked it up and she's like, "Oh, how old is your child?" Talking to like one of the other ladies in the car who's staying at the shelter. And like that snowsuit was the right size for her baby.
Right. So she was like, "Here."
And it was it's just so cool. So lots of little things like that you guys helped us just have an impact. And I think that this year solidified something in me, is that you guys know that our channel exists to inform, inspire, and do good. This year to me gave me vision for the do good aspect.
Right.
Like I have such a vision for that and such a heart to see our community continue to do that. And honestly, like through Shop 49th and through like what you guys have done, like I'm dreaming bigger than maybe even I should. Which is like I have so many thoughts and ideas on what we as a community can do, how we can make this world a better place together. Because it's like just Sherri and I, like there are things that we can do, but there are almost 18,000 of us.
Right.
And like that number is big enough to have significant impact and to make real change. And as a community, I want us to lean into that in 2022 like we never have before.
Yeah.
Another thing we launched in 2022, the podcast.
The podcast.
LeggLife podcast. We've talked about it for a long time, Sherri.
Yes.
We finally pulled the trigger.
We did, and we pulled the trigger in a time that I think we didn't realize what we were going through.
Well, we launched it in January.
We launched it in January, and really right in the midst of all of me being so sick, but it was something that I could do.
When you weren't comfortable being on camera.
When I wasn't comfortable being on camera, and so I could talk.
Yeah.
And I could sit here in my pajamas and not have to look anywhere near decent enough to be on camera. And
what's crazy is that we didn't know. I mean, we're not podcasters. You guys, we're not even YouTubers. We're just like a normal, we're just like normal people who happen to have a camera. And yet the podcast like took off in a way that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exact number, but I think it's like almost 30,000 like listens to our podcast over the first year. And that's crazy. That's insane. And so like you guys did that. And it's so cool that every week hundreds of people listen. In fact, I'm going to plug it. Can I plug it?
Do it.
So as you guys are watching this on New Year's Eve, the 31st, you guys know we took the month of December off from the podcast. Tomorrow, podcast upload on Saturday. Well, tomorrow, November 1st.
November?
I don't know why I said that. I'm just...
January 1st.
I either went back in time or forward. I'm not sure which it was. January 1st, we are coming back.
Yeah, we are.
And we're coming back with something really fun. Now, a lot of people probably expect, a January 1st podcast. We're going to talk about resolutions. We're going to talk about goals and the way to make yourself a better person in the new year. Is that what we're talking about?
No.
Crap, no, we're not. Because what are we talking about?
Taylor Swift.
We're talking about freaking Taylor Swift. Why? Because
we adore her.
No, because we're feeling 22.
And because we adore her.
And because we adore her. We love Taylor Swift. We thought, you know what? It's our podcast, gosh darn it. Let's have some fun.
Yep.
So we're going to come back with the Taylor Swift episode, and I'm so excited about this.
You too.
The podcast is one of the best things we did in the entire year. I love it.
Me too. And for me, I feel like you and I just talk all the time anyway. And we have these deep conversations, we have these stupid conversations, and we have these conversations that just get completely out of control. And this is literally just us hitting record and then having a conversation.
Yep.
Any of those realms, the serious or the crazy or the stupid, like it's
what we do.
It's what we do. And so it's been a lot of fun on the podcast to just be able to continue those conversations. The thing
that I love the most about the podcast, though, because I agree with you, like the podcast is so easy for us because like we just naturally do that.
Right. It's like one take. We don't edit it.
We just hit record.
We hit record and we hit stop. Like that's it.
But I feel like the podcast has given people an opportunity to, I was going to say see, but to hear a different side of you. Because on the videos, which this is changing, like people have even been recently commenting on your curly girl video, on your book video, like you're feeling more confident in front of the camera. However, the podcast is like a whole nother level. The podcast, I feel like, is the best picture of the Sherri that I get to see and I get to know.
And very few people actually get to see that.
Very few. Yet through the podcast,
probably count on like one hand.
Yet on the podcast, you're opening it up to hundreds of people every week. And so that's my favorite thing about the podcast is that I feel like you guys, if you listen, you're getting to hear like the real Sherri. That sometimes when you pull out a camera, it's easy even for me to like hide the real Adam because the camera's weird.
Cameras are weird, and I find even just like this, where it's really sort of just a conversation, I find my eye looking at me and like
in the viewfinder,
weird, and like my sweaters, like I know that I notice these things, and so it's just like that's what I'm focusing on instead of the conversation that we're having.
But on the podcast.
But on the podcast, I don't care.
So I'm going to put all the podcast information down below. You can listen on Apple. You can listen on Spotify. You can listen on Google.
YouTube.
You can right here on YouTube. And it's our favorite. Every Saturday, we're putting on episodes.
Yeah.
And we have so many hilarious and deep and amazing episodes planned.
We have some really good episodes planned.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So the podcast was a big deal. Another thing we launched, and this isn't something we talk about a lot, and we don't talk about it a lot intentionally. We actually launched a Patreon this year.
We did.
We received a bunch of pushback for that. A lot of people said that, once creators launch things like Patreons, that's when people see things change. And so my kind of challenge was like, just watch and see. Stick with us.
Right, so we tried really hard not to make things change.
Yep.
I think we did okay.
I think so. Well, completely. I don't think anything has changed, which I love. Really the thing I do want to say though is that there are over 80 people every month who make this channel possible. I mean, that's just the reality, is that we could not do all of the things that we do without the support from Patreon.
Yes.
We just realistically couldn't.
Right.
LeggLife in 2021, in a year when we had thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in medical bills that we had to pay, this channel would have looked very different without those people stepping up and like helping us and supporting us.
Yeah.
And so just like, thank you. You have made this channel better and different, and what people see and the impact this channel has had, like we've been able to do that because of our supporters on Patreon.
Yeah.
And so thank you. Like you guys have no idea every single month what that means to us.
Yeah.
I'm so appreciative that people would give of their time, and then the thought that there's people that would give of their money to support what we're doing blows me away.
Yeah.
Absolutely blows me away.
Yep.
So now let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about travel.
Okay.
It's one of the best things that we do. We love travel.
Yes.
And this year we got to do some amazing things.
Amazing travel.
So when you think back to the travel highlights from this year, what are some of and I want to know specific moments, like moments to you that when you think back, you're just like, we got to do that.
We got to see a mama and baby whale. Are you okay?
Yes, oh my gosh.
That was one of the coolest things that I've ever seen in my life. And we've done like whale watching tours before. Thank you to my doctor for giving me
motion sickness. Yeah.
Medicine that actually works.
It's true.
So I can actually go on these cruises now and not feel sick for 3 days. It was amazing. And that wasn't even on the cruise, was it? It was on the ferry from Juneau to Skagway.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
That is a memory I will have for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Is sitting there with like this, not even a boat full of people. There was like a dozen people maybe.
Right, there were like 12 people on this boat.
It was you, me, Auburn, and I remember at one point, like, we're kind of all watching this mom and this baby whale. And like, I remember looking at like you and Auburn and like looking around the people on the boat and just thinking like, how are we having this experience right now?
How is this real?
How is this real?
Right.
We're in the most naturally beautiful location, right? The Inside Passage, like in Southeast Alaska, where giant cruise ships go through. And we're
on
here.
This little ferry.
We're on this little catamaran. And there's a handful of us watching a mom and a baby whale.
I know. Ugh!
Amazing.
Another part of that trip that I will always remember is the whole 4th of July.
In Skagway?
In Skagway. That was one of the most hallmarky experiences of my life.
Oh, 100%.
And I adored every second of it.
Oh, 100%. It was amazing.
It was so fun.
Just so much of that trip, the way things worked out, even us all getting to do the White past the railway that we didn't think we were going to be able to do. I mean, just everything about that trip, with the exception of how it ended.
How it ended was super fantastic.
But Auburn's okay, right?
Auburn's okay.
The bike crash.
Right.
Of all the ways that even that could have ended, the fact that, the thing that we can't replace is her,
right.
And she's okay.
She's okay.
And we have these amazing memories from that trip.
We have these other amazing memories from this trip and from the rest of her trip.
So cool. One of my memories was going to Utqiagvik and me getting to jump in the Arctic Ocean. It is a bucket list thing.
I have to do it twice because I wasn't recording.
Sure was recording. I was not going to bring that up.
Professional YouTuber.
I was going to let that slide,
right
but
here.
You brought it up. It was just, and even the way that happened, that I made the decision to jump into the ocean that day, and I wouldn't have done it because of how rough the seas were the next day.
Yeah.
And so, just getting to be there, a place that so few people ever get to see and experience, getting to be there for the first sunset. Yeah. After the midnight sun summer.
After 83 days of the sun not setting, we were there for the first sunset. Now it only set for like 45 minutes.
But still.
But it set. It went below the horizon.
And so those are the kind of things that I think about. Of course the viewer cruise. Of course the Florida trip. But to me, there are a few travel memories that for the rest of my life, I will have from this year.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so freaking cool.
And that's, I think, what we were talking about at the beginning of this video. There were some extreme lows at the beginning of this year.
Yep.
But there were so many extremely high highs.
Yeah.
That I feel like it balanced itself out.
And I for sure did not think that. I didn't think the highs the second half of the year could balance out the hardship from the first half of the year. Right. I didn't think that would be possible.
Right.
Yet it was. Let's talk about a couple other things. Let's talk about Vlogmas, what we're finishing right now.
Hallelujah.
For the second year in a row, we have actually succeeded at Vlogmas.
And I was actually a part of it this year.
You were a part of it this year.
I was not a part of it for about half or more of the videos.
Last year.
Because I was sick.
Yep. And so a video every single day, December 1st through the end of the month.
Yeah.
So cool. How was Vlogmas for you?
It was good. I think we talked about this. I feel like 3 or 4 days before Christmas, it was just like, are we done?
We kind of hit a wall.
Can we just be done? And we ran out of ideas, and we were just sort of like, we had ideas for this week, but they're not really Christmas themed, and so we didn't want to do them pre-Christmas. We were just like, ugh. But I think it went well. I mean, we did it. Yep. We survived.
I thought it was great. I would not even say we survived. This is gonna sound really strange. This month felt easy to me.
Oh.
It didn't. This didn't feel hard at all.
Okay.
It just felt like in fact, we're kind of to the end of the month, and I'm just like, that was it. That was not hard.
I mean, so we're not having a video on Saturday, but we are on Sunday and Monday.
Well, that's true. So I get to keep it going a little bit.
One day. We're going to miss one day.
And so, I don't know. I've really enjoyed this. This has been my favorite Vlogmas, without a doubt.
Mine too, and because we planned it so far in advance.
Yep.
And we had every video planned out for the most part. And we pre-filmed a bunch of videos.
Yep. So, just a great Vlogmas.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about YouTube and Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram, some really cool milestones happened. On Instagram, we hit 6,000 followers.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Just a couple days ago.
That's a lot of people.
And
I'm not as intentional about Instagram as I would like to be. In fact, one of my personal 2022, creator sort of challenges for myself is to focus more on Instagram, posting regularly, that kind of stuff. But some of the highlights for me actually aren't the the follower numbers. It has to do with the community.
Yeah.
Because 2020 was a huge deal. It's where we really saw our Instagram community start to grow with the live streams we were doing, and people got connected to each other. But to me, when I think of Instagram, the highlight this year is over on Facebook. We have this Instagram LeggLife Facebook group.
Right.
It's a private Facebook group just for our Instagram community members.
Right.
Because there's such a community that's gotten formed. And here's why that's my favorite thing. Is that is a community that is happening without you and I having to do a darn thing.
No. They did like a Christmas card exchange. They did like a Secret Santa exchange. Like all of that stuff. They post like prayer requests and they pray for each other. And like it's all of this amazing community that we're really not a part, like we're members of this group, but like we're
just a part of the community.
Leading it. It's not us pushing it.
It's the coolest thing. When people are having a rough day, they'll just be like, they'll post in there that, today sucked. Just need a little bit of encouragement. Let me see a photo of your pet. Or just like random things. And it's so cool because sometimes, and I hear this a lot, people are like, can real community happen online, right? Can community really happen online? And yeah, 100%.
Sure
like
can.
Go watch that Facebook group and look at it. That is real community with real people that is happening. It's just happening in like a digital space.
Right.
And when I think of Instagram, that group is what I'm so proud of because it is community.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So that's Instagram. Let's talk YouTube.
Well, there's another piece of Instagram that we didn't talk about.
What are we gonna talk about?
I started my own Instagram.
Oh, that's true. If you guys watched yesterday's video, you saw Sherri talk all about her Bookstagram.
Yeah.
Sherri's bookstore.
Sherri's bookshelf.
I should know the name of the account.
You really should.
Sherri's bookshelf. Are you enjoying it?
I am. It's been a lot of fun because I don't post nearly as often as I planned to. Shocking. But not shocking at all. I started out really strong, and then I just didn't. But it's been a lot of fun because there's so many times, like on my personal Instagram, that I'm just like, I really want to like talk about these books, but nobody's gonna care. Mm-hmm. But in my Bookstagram, I follow people, and I am like friends with people that also have their own Bookstagrams, and so I can comment on their posts, they can comment on mine, and like just today with a complete stranger, I don't know who this person is, but she commented something about books that I've read, and I was like, oh, you need to read these because it's by the same author, and we had this whole conversation about it.
The battery's about to die.
Oh no.
Pause. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, we're back.
And we're back.
Sherri, go ahead. Like community conversations, Bookstagram, go.
No, I think that was pretty much it. Like okay. I thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation about books with a complete stranger.
There you go. So,
yeah.
Follow along if you haven't. I'm sure a lot of you guys who love books watched the video yesterday. Mm-hmm. So that's Instagram. Let's talk YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. This was a cool year for YouTube. The channel grew. Yes. We added over a couple thousand new people, which is a ton of fun. But the number one metric that we care about, that we talk about a lot here on our channel, is actually not subscribers. It's actually not views. Right. It is
watch time.
It is watch time. And the reason watch time matters to us is that watch time to me tells me if you guys care. Right? It's just true. Like, how involved and how invested is our community in the stuff we create? Right. Because we could put out a ton of videos, but if you guys are watching 20 seconds of a video and then like going to do something else, bored, then like what we're creating isn't connecting with you.
Right.
Right? And so watch time to me, I think, is the best indicator for, does the content you make like connect with your audience? Are they like connected to that? And this year, in fact, not just this year, within the last 20 hours, for the first time ever, in 6.5 years on YouTube, we crossed a watch time milestone that to me sounds insane.
Yeah.
In 2021, our videos were watched for more than 10 million minutes.
10 million minutes.
Yep, just this year alone.
That's a lot of minutes.
We've never hit that milestone.
A lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours, a lot of days, a lot of years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 10 million minutes in 1 year. That is a milestone that I've wanted to hit for a few years now, and the fact that we were able to do that is just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I love that because that means that you guys are enjoying and liking and connecting and watching in like big chunks of time.
Yeah. The
stuff that we make.
Yeah.
And that matters so much to us because, again, numbers matter because people matter. We say that a lot. Numbers only matter because people matter. It's not a subscriber, it is a person. Right, who has chosen to like watch your channel and click. And so, yeah, thank you guys. You guys made all of this possible.
Yeah.
And so 2021 was a year that we got to see Friends become family. 2021 was a year that we got to experience parts of our state that we will never forget for the rest of our life.
Right.
It was a year that we got to spend more time with other friends.
Mm-hmm.
We got to deepen relationships that exist.
Yep.
We got to make new memories. We got to have our first viewer cruise. We got to achieve cool milestones. We got to have significant impact in our city and our state through Shop 49th. We got to see you guys have impact in the lives of lots and lots of people. And even though the fact that this year started so hard, all of those things happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That it was the hardest start to any year we've ever had. But still, what a year it was.
What a year. And yeah, I just... it's hard to put into words how thankful we are for all of you guys.
Yeah, it's I don't know how else I could say that.
Right.
That's exactly right. We are so super thankful. LeggLife to us is not a YouTube channel. LeggLife to us is a community of people. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that we're getting to meet more and more of you in person, mm-hmm. and we're getting to call more and more of you friends, and we're getting to share our lives with you, and you're getting to share your life with us through comments and through posts on Facebook pages and Instagram posts, and when you come to meetups and viewer cruises and Christmas cards, and it just feels like, mm-hmm. I don't know, it feels like we have a community here, and I don't think there's anything on YouTube that I want more than that.
Right.
You know, I think that the fact that we're getting to have an actual community is just crazy. So friends, we love you. That's our year. What a year.
What a year. Yeah. What a year.
Really high highs, really low lows, mm-hmm. but we're ending the year incredibly thankful, incredibly grateful, and I don't know how it could be better. So we love you guys so very much, and for the first time in 31 days, we will not see you tomorrow, but there will be a new LeggLife podcast. Taylor Swift. We're feeling 22, and then we'll be back on Sunday with our normal upload schedule of Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, going back to 4 videos a week.
Yep. And a podcast on Saturday.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We love you, friends. Bye.